Good afternoon. So I tried to find the article about if aliens invasion a civics class, and I did right here, visitor from space. We're going to look at this, teaching civics, a visitor from outer space. And then, when I saw this, I saw all these other articles pop up. So we're going to look at this, you all. There's plenty of articles, a lot of articles on aliens invading from space, aliens from outer space, visitors from outer space. I think there is a lot to it, and I already feel that they have invaded the Earth. There is an alien invasion. There are alien species on this Earth. They're non-human, but yet some may look completely human. Hello, Applebrooks, honey. I want to show you these search results. Look at this. Aliens invaded the Earth. Market Watch. This is what humans would do if aliens invaded the Earth. New York Post, the emergency action plan for an alien invasion of Earth. And they're serious. DOIG, prevention and management of an invasive alien species. I'm sure they're talking about aliens. I really am. Contacting aliens could end all life on Earth. Let's stop trying. Well, they're already here. They're already here. So if you're just tuning in, there is an invasion that has taken place. Really, there is more than one type of invasion on Earth. But this article right here in May of 2018, and it's in, of all places, a financial place, Market Watch. What do you got something like this about aliens? Let's look at this, you all. Alien invasion is a favorite topic of science fiction movies, and I guess a lot of other people. So a protagonist is going about his often unremarkably daily life until one day a gigantic spaceship appears in the sky and the attack begins. Well, who said anything about attacks? They may not attack. You may be the one who attacks them first. Really, if you think about it, you may be the one who attacks them first. Invaders from outer space are relentless, technologically and biologically superior. Well, I don't know if I would say that they're all relentless. I would say that they are technologically and biologically superior to Earth. I really would say that. The situation looks bleak until a hero comes and saves the day, either by blowing up an alien mothership. Why did they talk about the mothership that's above the Earth, you all? Because that's what the Pentagon said. Some kind of former Pentagon chief or something said there was an alien mothership above Earth. So look at this. This is really weird. Why would you put this in here? Everything looks bleak until our hero saves the day, either by blowing up an alien mothership or killing the alien queen or similar fleet. Here's what I think could happen first during a real alien invasion. Well, let's hear what you think can happen first during a real alien invasion, because we're seeing a lot of strange things on this Earth, really, that we're scratching our head like this thinking, what's really happening? Really think about it. There aren't any publicly, although there aren't any publicly available, see, they got that in parentheses, any publicly available government procedures for responding to an alien attack, so it's not hard to imagine from what they would take, what form they would take. See, so they're more or less saying there are government procedures for responding to an alien attack. It's not publicly available, but if you remember the Pentagon press secretary, Admiral Pat Ryder, he said when they see these UAPs in the sky, if they cannot identify whatever's up there in the sky or in the ocean, they're going to consider it a threat, and they're going to go after it. If they could not recognize, if they did not know if it came in peace or whatever, they would consider it a threat. That's what they said, and we got the video on the YouTube channel. So look at this. So it's not hard to imagine what form they would take. Civilians would most likely be instructed to stay in their homes or the closest shelters and await further developments. Wait, wasn't there supposed to be something that would come out that said people would get instructions to stay indoors? Well, that never did pan out. Did that ever pan out? I think somebody was saying that there was something supposed to come out that would instruct people like a EBS, stay inside your houses. Hello, everyone. This is just kind of really important, really. Stay into their shelters until further developments. Instructions and news would broadcast via TV and radio and also through social media as Twitter, Facebook, etc. Preparations. Following a precautionary measure, the next course of action would to assess the threat. See, that's what the military would do. They said they would do too. Assess the threat and organize a two-pronged response. You would be out there enjoying the show. That's exactly right. See, they want you to stay inside your house. But what if it wasn't aliens? What if it was another invading country? Stay inside your homes. It's the aliens. All the while, it's not. It's something much more serious, First, we would attempt to communicate with the aliens to understand their motive for entering the Earth's atmosphere. So they're telling you, reading this right here, I think they're telling you what's going to happen. I really do when they come public with this. This is what's going to happen. They're telling you their game plan. They put it out here on this Market Watch. I don't even know who runs the Market Watch, but this is their plan. This is their plan, and they're leaking it. They're leaking their plan. This is back in 2018 is what it was. Socially equipped, this is what they're going to do. The first thing they're going to do, they're going to have specially equipped emissaries would go to the locations where clear contact with the aliens could be made. These experts in linguistics, psychology, biology, and combat would attempt to get a nonviolent response from the alien entities using non-aggressive gestures such as images projected on large screens or drawn on the ground using heavy machinery. Okay, they're going to get experts. Okay, let me just say this. If you're going to send out experts in these areas right here, chances are the aliens do not want to speak to your so-called experts. They may not. They may think, no, this is a trap. This is a trap because, truth be known, these aliens have already spoken to non-experts, regular human beings. Chances are they have, you all, and they have. You know, you've been abducted. You have contact. People do have contact with these beings and stuff like that. I don't think you need to be sending in the experts. I mean, you might want to send some experts. But they may say, no, we don't want your experts. They may specifically call out certain people. They may. I'm just saying. We'd also try wireless communications as well as radio signal broadcasts. Each of those measures would have to be assessed individually and would not be used if aliens might consider them threatening. For example, why would you even put something, broadcasting it on the screen as an energy weapon? Why would you want to do that? So we're thinking of this thing in a Market Watch. If aliens invasion, they said they would try to be non-aggressive. They want to be auditory, visual, or a form of energy and or vibration, I guess like on ET. And they would record it by a series of mobile sensory arrays that emissaries would wear all the time. Artificial intelligence. Now here we go. Artificial intelligence and human experts all over the globe would then process the recorded data and attempt to translate it as quickly and precisely as possible, since the fate of humanity might depend on a timely response. This data would then be accompanied by video feeds, biometric information, in situ commentary from the team biologists and psychologists. They would provide scientific description of the events. Well, what if your scientific description of the events, what if it's a spiritual thing? Okay, really, what if it is and it doesn't, you can't explain what you're seeing in a scientific manner. You really can't, because there is nothing to explain. Alien morphology and the demeanor in which they delivered their responses. It sounds like a pretty good plan, but then I really don't know. But here's the thing they're leaving out. These highly advanced species, they can read your mind. They can tell whether you're sincere or not. They can. And do you think that they would play that game? No, 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 I don't think they would. They would know what the motives were. They would know. In case aliens did not offer any kind of response and they remained docile, global satellite systems would monitor their movements on their fleet, trying to gauge their intentions. We could be seeing this right now in all reality right here. In case the aliens did not offer any kind of response and remain docile and global satellite systems would monitor the movements of their fleet, trying to gauge their intentions. I would say that they are being monitored because we've spotted them in the sky. We've spotted them at the observatories. And if they are docile, they are being monitored. They really are. And everything's being hush-hush. Everything is being hush-hush, you all. If one showed up on your back porch, you would discern it and then, yes, Naomi, and approach it with caution. Escalation. Preliminary threat assessments, weaponry data, and basic biological data on aliens would be available, offering answers to questions. Well, how do you know it would be available? How would you know about the basic biological? How would you know this about the aliens if they didn't give it to you? Okay, they would know, what does the alien arsenal consist of? What kind of technology and materials do they use for their vehicles? What kind of creatures are aliens? And how do they communicate? What kind of armor, if any, do they use? Are there any weaknesses in their technology that we could use to our advantage? And does humanity stand a chance against the alien invaders? Well, this article is really already written as if they are the invaders. And what if they're invisible? Really, what if they are? What if they're already here and they're cloaking themselves on Earth? What if? And what if some other type of species is coming and it's not what they say? What if I'm not going to say it. Okay, mobilization of the military land air units in preparation of weapons of mass destructions would be silently executed. Leaders of world government would meet in secret to discuss various scenarios based on preliminary assessment reports. A special Earth Defense Council might be formed with the task of defending the planet in all attempts to communicate with the aliens if they fail, if they turn hostile. Do you think that we already have an Earth Defense Council? Do we have one? Is there an Earth Defense Council? I bet there is. Earth Defense Council. There is on Wiki Fandom. There is, that's Wiki Fandom. Transformers, planetary defense. NASA has a planetary defense thing, and I'm sure that would fall inside of it. There's no reason why it wouldn't. Let me look at this, you all. Be a force of the future. Okay, let's look at this. So we got the civics class. So the human factor. This is where it gets complicated. Some countries would undoubtedly feel left out. Why would they feel left out? Others would expect it to use the aliens as an excuse to invade their territory and would prefer to be left out. Finally, some countries would consider aligning themselves with the aliens if this would guarantee their survival. Well, that's just human nature. How things would go on from there would depend on aliens and humans alike, you all. There is a high chance that one or both sides could misjudge the other's actions as an act of violence and would escalate to an all-out war. Then they'd have to have a global task force with the goal of defeating the space invaders. But what if they're already here on the Earth? Or what if they are? Well, who's going to be up there in the sky? Really think about it. Hello, Applebrooks, honey. Who's going to be up there in the sky? So we've got these aliens. Divide and conquer. No, you did not just write that. Divide and conquer. While many movies depict alien technology as the superior one, I don't think this needs to be the case for them to win. All they need to do is help fuel global conflict so the EDC gets destabilized in such a way it cannot provide coordinated response to alien threats. At this point, the aliens would fight to hold the status quo against the most powerful countries, all the while decimating the weakest. Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. You got that? We've got that, you all. But not all alien conquests would be violent. In their attempt to weaken the human collective, they would aid countries locked in conflict by dropping caches of advanced weaponry or even sending in their own troops. This would make allies of the winners and draw further resources from the conquered territories, using it to fuel their war machinery, assuming they attack the Earth for its resources. As the alien invasion progresses, their war rages against the world's most powerful countries and would convert to a war of attrition, cutting off the major supplies. Look at this, you all. Sounds like what's going on today. Cutting off major supply routes, destroying resource caches, and causing public disarray would be a far more effective weapon than destroying the planet they came to conquer. Oh, really? Look at that, you all. Causing public disarray. Finally, the humans would be forced to use nuclear weapons or negotiate with the aliens. My guess that both options would be used in the end, depending on their success. Rosie, honey, would you do it? The success of the nukes or negotiation would either become unnecessary in the result of utter defeat. Look at this. So technology, weaponry, or superpowers aren't always the be-all and end-all. In war, whether it's fought on land, air, or in space, strategy reigns supreme. Would humans stand a chance against alien invaders? We are. We're already standing. We're already standing against it. So if aliens were to invade the Earth, and I really feel that they have, I do, and that's, yeah. But then we've got this class. Look at this class. Why would you have a class teaching civics? Visitor from outer space. Why would you do this? We've already done this before. Students are asked to evaluate and rank rights protected by the Bill of Rights in a hypothetical invasion by a visitor from outer space. They complete the ranking individually, and then they work in small groups with a consensus. They are inspired to learn more about their rights. So they got to understand their Bill of Rights. This is really interesting. It's all grade levels. You organize and stuff like that. You have private actors, the companies, the parents, individuals. You work individually and in small groups, but look at this. You have to remind the children that they have limited time, and if they fail to choose 5 rights that they wish to keep from the Bill of Rights, the visitor from outer space will choose for them. It will choose for them. Here's another one thing, you all. This is another one thing. They had the students, they did, to support their choices and ideas with reasoned arguments. And the students can argue that some of their rights may include others in an attempt to keep them all. So during the discussion, you got to ask the students to reflect on what each right means, and ask if, this is the one thing you pay attention to, ask if the new rulers would have the same interpretation. For example, would the aliens understand the right to privacy in the same way that we do? Would they understand it? That was the whole thing. And you can see there is no privacy nowadays. There isn't. You don't really have a right to privacy. You don't. Everything you think, everything you say, you have things that pop up. They know what you say. Everything is recorded. So they had a civics class on that, teaching civics. And I'm sure they wanted to know, they wanted to get a feel if there was a visitor from outer space. And they were talking about the Bill of Rights, they were. And they had 5 to choose from. And if they failed to choose, the visitor from outer space would choose 4. It could be a life form. It is a life form. And the alien would the aliens understand the right to privacy in the same way that we do? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, you all. It would not. They even brought in a lawyer. A visiting lawyer can contribute to the lesson. A visiting lawyer. But what is really interesting, look, people would read only what the government wanted them to read. Look, the right to freedom of press. Students may find the importance of this amendment difficult to understand. You have to help the students understand the alternative in which the government would control and release and form of the news. People would read only what the government wanted them to read. Alternatively, they may argue that this right is implicit in a right of free speech. This is like right to production from cruel and unusual punishment. The accused may be proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt in a criminal trial, then sentenced appropriately. But listen to this. People would read only what the government wanted them to read. They may argue that whatever. So the right of freedom religion, neither encouraging nor discouraging. Even though the people came to America for religious freedom, they weren't always tolerant of other religions. The government should remain neutral, the right to assemble, protection from self-incrimination. So look at this. This came from Carroll County Public Schools in Maryland. Adaptive Responsibilities and Rights, 1978. This is a civics class you are right here. And they're talking about if aliens were to invade the earth, what would you do? And then right here, how to prepare for an alien invasion. How would you do it? They know that something's happening. They know that it's happening. A pandemic. Oh, wow. Look at that. Right there. As in a 1950s science fiction movie, the war against the alien invaders will be warned by the combined forces of mobilized science and industry. Science and industry. Look at that. So, yeah. Look. The government UFO report will not rule out visitors from space. It will not. Any doubts that the government reported conclusions that the recent sightings aren't extraterrestrials? You can see, look right here. It won't rule out. It will not rule them out. The invasion of civic education. Potential cultural impact of extraterrestrial contact. 6 in 10 British. Alien invasion is finally here, and it is invisible. It's invisible. Well, that's what they said. There was an invisible monster, and it was in the form of a black hole. So when you look at this, they're telling you what's happened. They really are. It is here. It's finally here, and it's invisible. Look. Boom. Battling an alien invasion. Smithsonian. Look, there's the balloon again. The greatest alien encounter ever ranked. Government says UFOs were not. Are they preparing for an alien invasion? Catholic Online. I didn't think that all of this would be here, you all. I really didn't. Increased UFO reports aren't aliens. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not supposed to be talking about this. I really am not, but I did. It doesn't need to be a long video, but I've done a video on this channel that Earth has been invaded. The invasion is here. And there seems to be other people, articles that have been written about it. Other people feel that there is an alien invasion that has already taken place. Let me see if I've got this here, you all. Let me flip this around. I know I do a lot of videos, but it's okay. This is what humans would do if there was an alien invasion. Let me look. The dark plasma on the sun is growing. This is a podcast I do. Look at his face right there. If you didn't see this, something is wrong with his face one day ago. Yesterday morning, this was not the half of it. It was not the half of it. The Hopi prophecy right here. Right here, you all. The alien invasion is here. It's here. That was 3 days ago. Hubble catches a black runaway ho. There's something else that was on here. I've done a lot of videos on here already. You can see this other great big gigantic big UFO at the observatories in Hawaii 5 days ago right there. 5 days ago. You've got these news broadcasters laughing about this supermassive black hole right here. There's nothing funny about it. The invisible monster headed towards space. And they called it invisible. But it's a supermassive black hole. It's like a primordial black hole headed towards space. And when NASA was writing about it, they called it a beast. And they talked about this black hole, that it was rejected. It was more or less kicked out of its host galaxy by two other massive black holes or something like that. And it took off with a fury and left. And it's headed straight toward Earth, and it has a trail of like 200,000-mile long stars behind it. It's got its sights set on Earth, and they said if it was in the galaxy that we're in right now, it would take 14 minutes to get from the Earth to the moon. So they described this supermassive black hole as getting kicked out of its host thing, and now it's headed toward Earth. And instead of stars being in front of it, the stars are behind it, following it. And they said its luminosity is almost half as bright as the galaxy in which it came from. So one third would almost be as bright. And I saw Satan fall. He got in a battle with Michael and the archangels up there, and he lost his place. Okay, and he took with him a third of the host of heaven. And we got this supermassive black hole that they more or less told the biblical story of it having a fight with these other entities up there, and it got kicked out of its host galaxy. Okay, that's how they described it. It got kicked out, and now it is barreling and tarreling and ripping through space, headed straight toward Earth, and the stars are behind it. They're behind it. It's coming this way. And then they described it as a beast. They described it as an invisible monster. And one described it as primordial, ever since the Big Bang Theory or something like that. You also something's going on. These are the two important videos right here, right there, because this is literally, you can tie that into Revelation. And this right here, great big massive UFO, and what was the other one? The aliens invasion is here, and this is another thing about this one right here. And this right here is in the sky. They are. And then we have this right here, this guy, his face. And that's the ones you all. That's the ones you should look at. But I am going to go. So with that being said, hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello, from my heart to yours. Love you. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. Thank you.